Council will come to order. Would everyone please rise? We'll be led in prayer by Pro Tem Alderman Nash.
Almighty God, we ask for your blessing upon the members of this council as we assemble here in this chamber to conduct the ongoing business of our city. With your guidance, we will strive to ensure that all our decisions are for the common good, and your inspiration will instill respect, compassion, and thoughtfulness in all of our deliberations. Give us the strength and wisdom to lead by example as the people's representatives, and that peace and harmony will mark all our proceedings and keep us faithful to the trust placed in us by the citizens of our community. Amen.
Alderwoman Gould, please, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we begin citizen comment general, I just have a very brief statement to make. Throughout the afternoon, I've been speaking with a number of interested persons who are concerned that our city of Norwich stays the city of Norwich. And I've assured everyone that nothing has changed. Just for the record, I'd like people to know that I've spoken with the executive director from CAR, Mr. Tark Aoude, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing someone's name. Rabbi Rabinowitz, who's the head of our Norwich Clergy Association. I've spoken with Karen Savell from the Jewish Federation League. I've been in touch with Stephen Ginsburg from the Anti-Defamation League as well. And the Norwich Clergy Association is meeting on Thursday to discuss their role in assisting us. And I want to make it known to all that when a meeting is called with their assistance, that the invitation is open to all parties. And I've extended that invitation to those people who I've spoken with this evening as well. And we'll be working on a hopeful statement that everyone will get behind, because no one is going to do anything except be opposed to things such as hatred, bigotry, and discrimination. So I just wanted to share that with all of you. At this time, I would declare that citizen comment general is open, and the first person signed up is Swaranjit Singh. What? Oh, no. It's...
Good evening. I'm just here to, Mr. Singh couldn't make it today, so I'm here on his behalf.
I got you. Thank you.
I'm just going to read what he wrote.
Could we have your name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Edgar Rodriguez. I'm not a resident. I live in Plainfield, Connecticut.
Okay.
Okay. Due to call out at my work, I'm unable to come, but I authorize Edgar Rodriguez to read my statement. I would like to echo the voice of other citizens of Norwich who wants to add strong wording to lease agreement between City of Norwich and Tiger's owner to reinforce that the contract reflects emotions of the people of Norwich. It is our duty that, as a city, that we make statements. There is no place for hate in our community, and anyone who wants to do business with us must hold the same values. I am a strong believer that City of Norwich leadership holds high ethical values, which was proven by our city when they stood for the Sikh community on the issue of the Sikh genocide recognition. There is no doubt that we are a welcoming community, and now it is time to show that we are not just celebrate various differences, festivals, we really embrace our diversity. I stand in solidarity with the Muslim community of Norwich, and I expect the same from our leadership. Thank you so much. Sincerely, Singh. I believe I'm the second one down, so I just want this is a statement.
Please.
Okay. I want to thank you for all coming
sir,
out.
Again, please state your name.
Okay,
Restate.
Edgar Rodriguez.
Yes.
I'm a resident from Plainfield, Connecticut. I want to thank you for all coming out today to hear our voices. I'm here today as a Muslim to express my concern of hate, division, and separation. More so now that we have been hearing and seeing multiple and still growing in our communities throughout our nation. We have to be careful of what we say because it may cause an ugly negative reaction. What we say can either inspire or create hate, whether Mr. Apprentice is expressing hate in person or in the media. He is fueling the fire. We should all be concerned. It is more concerning when someone that has a chairman position of leadership is expressing negative and baseless comments in the media, which is shameful. I ask the Norwich representative to please look into this matter seriously and not just brush it off, because we have already seen the consequences of the people's actions. I hope and pray that Mr. Prentice would think before passing judgment on anyone of different faith or nationality. Thank you.
Thank you. Nancy Baez.
Hi, my name is Nancy Baez, and I reside at 232 Franklin Street. I've been living here for 20 years, and this is something that's been written, but honestly, I don't need to read this. I want to express my feelings. There's no word to express what I feel, because I'm not Muslim, but I have a boyfriend that's a Muslim. I've been involved with the Muslim community, and we shouldn't judge anyone by their race, color, religion, what they believe in, because we are all different, but it doesn't make us evil, because if there's one spoiled rotten apple, doesn't mean that all the apples are spoiled, you know? I want to express that we should join together, be together, and not hate each other. I don't know, it's sad because we are old and we should know better. We need to set examples for our children in the future, whoever they are, wherever they come from. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like to submit the written text for the public record? Yeah. Sharik Ahmed.
Hi, I'm Shafiq Ahmed. I'm the citizen of Lisbon, neighboring town. All of my kids went to Norwich Free Academy. My daughter, she was twice the class president in the same school. My kids definitely part of this city too. Once I used to live in West Main Street. So I heard all those news and I gone through some of the news of the Norwich Bulletin too. So I'm a little bit concerned about that city future contract with the Tigers. Undoubtedly, any kind of development or any contract for the betterment of the city and residents, we welcome. We enjoy that too as a neighboring town. But anything hate issues that concern any issues with the faith and minority, I wish that city of Norwich look into the matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Laurie Gieselman.
Hello, I reside at 5 Chapman Place, Norwich, Connecticut, and I'm here because to support the brothers of the Muslim Brotherhood and my co-worker, Mr. Rodriguez. And I'm thankful to have the opportunity to speak to you about a concern. There's a contract that is anticipated to be signed with the city of Norwich with the Tigers team. And I understand this does include taxpayers' money. As a taxpayer of the city of Norwich, I request you to include a strong moral clause in the contract that will make sure any individual who is in the Tigers organization is not going to be directly involved in spreading hatred against anyone. I feel that as a citizen of this city, I expect the people elect over here to represent me as well as the whole city, and I will be watching carefully with respect to decisions that will be made in this regard. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Tark Onude.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the committee, for allowing us to speak today. My name is Tark Audi. I reside at 475 Center Road, Wallingford, Connecticut. I'm sorry, I had to think about that. I just came up here 8 months ago. I am the new Executive Director of the Council on American Islamic Relations, Connecticut. And I would like to just thank the committee and those who are here to help us speak before you. I had statements prepared, but I would like to welcome participation in this group to address this issue in a meaningful way for all citizens of Norwich, to make sure that we stand clear against hate, bigotry, and misinformation. The kind of hate, bigotry, and misinformation that sparks problems all over the country, including shootings in a Walmart in Texas, shootings in a mosque in New Zealand, and just basic divisiveness that turns brothers and sisters against each other. Again, I thank you for your time, and I look forward to participating with the mayor and others to solve this issue.
Thank you, sir. Fahan? Sorry, I can't read the writing.
I think it's my fault, my messy handwriting. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Farhan Memon. I reside at 15 Pequot Drive in Norwalk, Connecticut. I'm the chairperson of the Connecticut chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations. We're the largest civil rights group for Muslims in the United States. I think it's important, given the media coverage and what's been said, to be very clear about why we're concerned about Mr. Prentice and his involvement in the Connecticut Tigers, and in turn, the Tigers' rental of Dodd Stadium. While it started out as a regular think tank, albeit a Republican or a right-wing think tank, the Center for Security Policy has devolved into a racist organization. The Center for Security Policy's president, Frank Gaffney, has called American Muslims, I quote, essentially termites who want to, quote, hollow out the structure of civil society and other institutions for the purpose of creating conditions under which jihad will succeed, unquote. Additionally, the CSP's warped scholarship on Islam was cited several times in the manifesto of Anders Berg Breivik, who killed 77 people at a summer camp in Norway. Excuse me. These were mainly children in 2012. The organization, the CSP, has also advocated the proposition that President Barack Obama was not born in the United States, otherwise known as birtherism, and that he is Muslims. Accusations, obviously, that are inherently racist and false by any measure. Now, as the chairperson of the CSP, Mr. Prentice is not merely just a follower or casual donor. He's donated $50,000 to the organization and vigorously has defended the organization, and most recently last week in the statement where he said that the organization was vital to our country. Now, we believe that the participation of someone like this in an institution like baseball is incompatible. And there's precedent for this. Earlier this year, when the owner of the Chicago Cubs was found to have made similar statements, calling Muslims enemies, the family had to apologize, and the clubs took proactive measures in making sure that Muslim fans both were appreciated and felt that they were valued as members of the community. Similarly, when Marge Schott, the owner of the Reds, made anti-Semitic comments, she was actually banned from active management of the team. So I would put it to you, the City Council in Norwich, that you have a decision to make as to whether you want to do business with such a person as Mr. Prentice, someone who is involved in an organization that is racist, and someone whose organization has led to the deaths of people in Norway. And you can connect the dots, really, between what's happening in Norway to what happened in New Zealand to, unfortunately, what happened in El Paso. The record is very clear. We at the Council of American-Islamic Relations have contacted the Detroit Tigers. We've also contacted the Oakland A's, which is the parent organization of the other affiliate baseball team that Mr. Miles Prentice owns. And we've also contacted minor league baseball. We expect that each of these organizations in turn will take this matter under advisement and do, similar to what Major League Baseball has done, what's necessary to ensure that both the institution of baseball and their individual business relationships are both respect equality and inclusiveness and non-discrimination. And I and my colleague Tark already look forward to the discussions that you in Norwich will have around this matter as well. Thank you for your attention this evening.
Again, reminding people that it is a time system. 3 minutes is the schedule. I let the gentleman finish his statement, but we need to stick to the 3 minutes. Is anyone else wishing to speak to the City Council on any matter not on our agenda tonight? We are still under citizen comment general. Those are the people that did sign up. Yes, sir.
My name is Jamal Bader, and I live on 200 Dunham Street. Last year, probably similar time as this time, we were called for the council meeting regarding Dunham Street, that they were going to reconstruct, re-put asphalt, and fix the sidewalk. And that project was supposed to start sometime in July or end of July, they said, to be done in September. We so far didn't see a single truck on Dunham Street doing anything, although they said at that time that the money and all was paid already by federal government, and that was received by the city of Norwich. So I would like to know where we stand and what's going on in this matter. I've been living there for the past 17 years. Basically, I've never seen anything but the Norwich utility company digging holes and doing patches on that street.
Our Public Works Director is here this evening, and I know that he just heard your concern. Perhaps you guys could talk at some point this evening. Pat McLaughlin is sitting here, so he could answer those concerns.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Again, yes, sir, please.
Hello, good evening.
Again, please state your name and address.
My name is Mohammed. I live in Alice Street with my wife, 4 kids. I have 2 sets of twins. My first set was 6 years old. They'll be going to Moriarty School in September. My second twin is 3 years old. We have a really busy with the kids. We care for them. We try to make the best decision for them, and I'm glad that we get to the point where we can speak to you guys directly about the things that happen in our town. And the battle of hate is not an ending battle. I cannot remember when it started, but sadly, it's coming close to our town. Less than a year ago, a masjid got burned in New Haven, and things don't stop and always gets worse. And now we're ending up with a situation where a person like Mr. Apprentice is doing business in our town. And I'm really worried about the message that's going to come out from you guys out of this committee, the message that you're going to be spreading in the town. For the benefit of our town and the safety of my kids, I really hope people like Mr. Apprentice and people who think like him just stay away from here, and you guys make the best decision that concern the people of Norwich. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Again, anyone like to speak under citizen comment who has not? Yes, please.
Beryl Fishbone, 19 Bliss Place. And I'm speaking tonight because you have the first public hearing on the ordinance for food trucks in Mohegan Park. And I just wanted to say that I'm in favor of it as a private citizen, and I'd like to, yes.
Do you want to put that as part of the official public record during the public hearing, though? Your comments right now?
Are we allowed to speak during the, for the ordinance part?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
A regular public hearing for an ordinance, yes.
okay, then I'll wait, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Crab, I saw your hand earlier.
Good evening, David Krebs, 47 Prospect Street. Most have heard that a picture is worth 1,000 words, but not as many have heard President Obama's chief of staff, who is now the mayor of Chicago, adding, "Never let a crisis go to waste." Both adages have captured attention since the month began. Before today's newsmaker, last week in North Philadelphia, a paroled felon wounded 6 policemen before surrendering. Gun laws didn't deter the parolee, nor do they prevent Chicago's gun violence. Yet the 2,000+ laws haven't changed the human behavior which the propagandists are working hard to label mental disease. Let me segue about disease. I served in my Navy career that began on a World War II West Coast destroyer that routinely sailed to the Far East. Before the Vietnam War, I was temporarily at an Air Force base which had a bulletin board with graphic results of VD for everybody that was lined up to eat chow. They were treated with antibiotics back then. During the Vietnam War, VD escalated to the extent that antibiotics had no effect. Does public education have a role preserving the law-abiding traditions of the good old days in the USA? The summary paragraph in the Declaration of Independence has a clue. That is, we, which was the Continental Congress, appealing to the supreme judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions. Do legislators today have intentions that are including rectitude or the supreme judge of the world in the choices that are coming out? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else under citizen comment? Yeah.
Good evening, Brian Kobelar, 16 Hobart Avenue. I'd like to address something that's listed as a resolution tonight, but it's old business, so it comes before the following public comment. During the last city council meeting related to, excuse me, 18 Falls Avenue, there were several suggestions that came forward as amendments from both sides of the aisle. They were all very, very good suggestions that enhance that overall resolution that makes it better for not only the city of Norwich at the present time, but as a footprint for what we should be doing in the future, especially with other developments that may take place around the waterfront. Whether it be the survey, whether it be the request for proposal, or a sunset clause that's built in. These are all very, very good, and I appreciate a unanimous decision to incorporate them into tonight's vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else under citizen comment? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Rodney Boyd, 62 Roosevelt Avenue. I wasn't going to stick my oar in the water this evening, but several of the people got up and spoke about discrimination, etc. I live on an old street in this town. I have on my street Polish, Russian, Chinese, Arabic, and any other number of people in between. I lived here for the past 56 years, and I haven't seen any kind of discrimination against anybody in particular. And whatever this guy does that runs the baseball, owns the baseball team out here, doesn't have anything to do with running this city at all, and never has yet. So, I think this is pretty much a non-issue for this particular city. I don't want to see people get all uptight about all of this kind of thing. Now, the other thing, I'm going to hop on the same thing I hopped on the last time I was in here, and that is your credit card, your $50 million credit card. You're paying $5 to $7 million to service this thing, and you're doing it time and time and time again. How many times are you going to pay $5 million to service a $50 million? This is a credit card you're running here. And folks, if you run your credit card the same way you're running this credit card here in the city, I said, when do you get off of it? I don't carry a balance on my credit card. And if a smart person they don't do it either. But we've built this thing up over the years, and I've watched it grow. I've watched it grow. I was here sitting right here when they boomed the ordinances up to $800,000. I've been sitting here for the past 50 years, watching this thing grow and grow and grow. Now stop it. You can't, it's not a way to run a financial institution.
Thank you, sir. Sorry, but citizen comment is scheduled for 30 minutes, and we have reached that. So I have to declare it closed. It is now 8 o'clock this evening.
Petitions and communications, estimated tax impact of debt service on proposed bond ordinance.
Yes, I'd entertain a motion, please, to receive. Pro Tem Nass, second by Alderwoman Gould. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Wait.
I'm sorry.
Someone going to give us some sort of presentation? Is Josh going to talk to us about this? Because I'm looking right here and it says homeowners with a median value single-family home will pay an average of approximately $20 per year. Extra $20 a year. Well, I have something to say that will probably get me in trouble again, but I don't really care. We just passed a budget. We just passed a budget. Now we're talking about, if I'm reading this correctly, an impact on our debt service. Does this mean that we're going to pay more money, Josh?
Yeah, whenever a bond ordinance is passed, when we issue debt for it, that new debt becomes more debt service for future budgets. So
the short answer is yes.
Yes.
Okay, this is what I'm going to say. And I don't really care what people think. When is it going to stop? When are you going to stop digging into the pockets of the taxpayers of the city of Norwich? When is enough enough? When? $20 here, $40 here, $100 over there. I drive a 2014 Ford Escape with 63,000 miles on it. And I pay $700 for my car tax. Now, I know it's not appropriate to swear in council neighbors, but that is friggin' ridiculous. When is this city gonna, I think Mr. Bowie will agree with me, when are we going to get our shit together and get this fiscal house in order? I don't have $20. I don't have $20. You can look at him, you can look at him, you can look at whoever you want to. I don't have $20. And I'm tired. I, for one, am tired of it. Later on this evening, we're going to talk about other budgets that were overspent. What's the point of having a budget if you're not going to follow it? Because you know why? Every time you need more money, you go to the taxpayers and you say, ooh, I need a new fire engine, I need a new police cruiser, I need a new car wash, I need a new stand-up desk, I need a new pencil. And every time you turn around, you're spending, 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 spending. And I, for one, would like to sit up here, and I won't be sitting up here very much longer. And that's why I take the liberty of speaking my mind, because I know that people would vote for me again. But it's out of control. Today is August what? 19th. We just passed a budget, a multi-million-dollar budget, and we're already talking about spending more money. So take a ride around town and see how many houses are for sale. And when there are no more houses that are occupied by taxpayers or people with disposable income, i.e. people who aren't on social welfare, let me know how you're going to pay for everything. So, and the last thing I would say, Mr. Mayor, I think it's vitally important, and I have asked for this for years and years and years, is that when something appears on the agenda, a resolution or an ordinance, that there should be a brief explanation for the public about what that ordinance or resolution means. I'm a member of the city council. I don't know what half of this crap means. And once again, for the last 14 years, this is what I get looks. People talk about you. I watched people in the audience snicker when Mr. Crab was talking. People were laughing. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Thank you. May I remind members that this is a motion to accept the communications. The issue on the bond itself is not in front of us at this time. It will be later in the meeting.
I would like to be excused, Mr. Mayor. I would like to be excused.
Thank you. Alderman DeLucia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Josh, I recognize that you're just the messenger and you're providing us with the information, and I appreciate that you just weathered that storm when when you're merely providing us with the information we need to make an informed decision. Thank you.
Look, thank you. Is there any further comment on the resolution to receive the communication? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
Public hearings. An ordinance amending Section 14-2E of the Norwich Code of Ordinances with respect to the selling of food or drink in Mohegan Park.
Thank you. I declare this public hearing open and invite people to speak who are in favor of this ordinance. Please state your name and address for the record. Each person would have 3 minutes to address the council. Does anyone like to speak in favor of ordinance?
My name is Beryl Fishbone, 19 Bliss Place. I'm in favor of having food trucks in Mohegan Park. I think it'll be a great thing for the park. I only have one small issue that it's a point of clarification more than anything else. And that is paragraph 2, where it says, the Director of Public Works may establish a schedule of permit fees applicable to vendors selling food and non-alcoholic beverages in Mohegan Park. And I just want to know if the fees in Mohegan Park will be different than the fees for the rest of the city. And if so, if I could have a clarification. And I'm going to ask that every member of the City Council and Attorney Driscoll speak into their microphones, because I don't know whether I'm just getting older and a bit more hard of hearing, but I'm having a very bad time sitting back there and hearing you. And just a clarification that a vendor who has a truck is going to be paying the same fees no matter where they go within the city, or are we doing this one park at a time? And so if they go visit 3 different parks in the course of their route, will they be paying 3 different fees every time they go to a different park? And if a park is, let's say, in Ockham, does that parking lot have a different fee than, say, the Brown Park? But other than that, I am absolutely for, and I thank Mr. Browning for bringing this up, because he's worked very, very hard on it, and it's a great thing for the park. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak in favor of this ordinance? Please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rebecca Malucci. I live at 303 Mohegan Park Road in Norwich, Connecticut. I, too, am in favor of having these trucks, the food trucks and beverage trucks at the park. We already have an ice cream truck there. I don't see what the real issue is. I don't understand all the legal aspects of it, I'll admit that. And I understand there has to be fees and all other kinds of things. There are parameters that everyone has to meet, but I think it's a good thing because, let's face it, these people need to make money. This is their livelihood. And why shouldn't they come to the park? I know I'd appreciate it if they came to the park. When I go to all these fairs and I go down to Brown Park, or if we're having a festival, I always go to the food trucks. I mean, I think they're very good. I like them. And I appreciate that Sam Browning brought it up to our attention. I am on the Mohegan Park Committee, and I definitely am in favor. I think it would be good. I think it may promote more people to come, and I think the families would appreciate it. That's all I want to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak in favor of this ordinance? Please.
Marv Ceruto, 100 Star Street, Norwich, Connecticut, United States of America. Just one issue on the trucks. I read it through. I couldn't see if there's, let's say, 4 spots, but there's 5 people that, want one of the 4 spots. How does that get determined? Is it like a lottery? Is it first come, first serve, something like that? Just kind of curious. And just making sure it doesn't open up the city to any type of liabilities, any type of litigation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can anyone else like to speak to the council in favor of this ordinance? Anyone else like to speak in favor of this ordinance? Anyone else like to speak in favor of this ordinance? Seeing no one else in favor, anyone would like to address the council in opposition to this ordinance? Anyone would like to speak to the council in opposition to the ordinance? Third time, anyone like to speak in opposition to this ordinance? Seeing no one else, I declare this public hearing closed. Thank you.
Number 2, relative to participation in cost-sharing program with the City of Norwich to construct concrete sidewalks.
I declare this public hearing open and invite members of the public to speak to us concerning this matter on concrete installation sidewalks. Is there anyone in favor of the cost-sharing program for sidewalks? Yes, sir.
Rodney Boy, 62 Roosevelt Avenue. I've used the program. The sidewalks belong to the city anyways, and I think it's a no-brainer. The city should cover their share of it at least. It's the least they can do. They do own the sidewalk, and they hit me for about $3 grand. It's a good program.
Thank you. Anyone else in favor of the cost-sharing program for sidewalks? Anyone else in favor of the cost-sharing program for sidewalks? Yes, sir.
Jamal Badir, 200 Dunham Street. I'm sorry, I came for a different reason, so I didn't know what was on the agenda. So when you say sharing, does that mean the city will be paying 100% on fixing the sidewalks, or sharing with the homeowners across from that sidewalk? Just clarification, please.
With leave of the council, I believe the way the program works is the homeowner covers the cost of the sidewalk itself. The city provides granite curbing to protect the new installed sidewalk, to preserve it for a greater long period of time. That is the sharing. The granite curbing is provided by the city.
But the concrete is provided by
The owner, yes.
And now you're voting for it, yes or no, to go this way?
The way this program works, people apply to participate in the program. There's a time period of application. This is actually the second time that we're doing this. Generally, it's around budget time, and the applications come in. But following the first action on the first cost-sharing program, new applicants stepped forward, and so we decided to do it again in the same year to help them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in favor of the cost-sharing program for sidewalks? Anyone else in favor of the cost-sharing program for sidewalks? Anyone else in favor of the cost-sharing program for sidewalk? Seeing none. Is there anyone in opposition to the cost-sharing program? Anyone in opposition? Last time, anyone in opposition? Seeing no one, I declare that public hearing closed, and thank you.
Second reading and action on the ordinance listed above. An ordinance amending Section 14-2E of the Norwich Code of Ordinances with respect to selling food or drink in Mohegan Park.
And waive the full reading of the text on the motion, please. Motion to please bring this forward. Alderman Browning. Second. Alderwoman Gould. Is there discussion? That includes waiving the full reading. And your motion should include waiving the full reading and text, as always, and everyone understands that. Thank you. Alderman Browning.
Yeah, a little bit of history on this. If you had gone to Mohegan Park about 20 years ago, you would have discovered a concession stand that was run by the city of Norwich, typically Summer Help. Closed about 20 years ago. At the time, the ordinance basically said that they had the exclusive right to sell food in Mohegan Park. 20 years goes by, the concession stand is taken down, and we have this ordinance here which prohibited basically the selling of food by anyone in Mohegan Park. This is one of those things where it outlived its usefulness, but the Mohegan Park Advisory Committee really didn't want to get into the business of running a concession stand anymore, staffing it, et cetera. So we thought that with the interest of food trucks in various locations, that we could allow them to come in and sell food and beverages, now alcoholic beverages, to people in the park, increasing the enjoyability of the park. Now, granted, putting me in charge of enjoyability is maybe a misfit of skills, but it seemed to be a logical choice at the time that we at least make it so that people could obtain food in Mohegan Park. So we've put it together. There are a lot of provisions involving insurance. There's no way to make it ourselves 100% liability proof, but anyone selling food will have to go through, provide insurance both to themselves and the city, and also have various, have a fairly high level of insurance. We didn't specify everything in the ordinance just simply because if something changed, like the amount of the umbrella policy, then you'd have to go back and change the ordinance. But the Public Works Director will provide a copy of all the regulations to anyone who wishes to sell. It also says may be charged in terms of fees. We're still trying to figure it out by experience. We may end up having food vendors and we're not charging them any fees simply because the insurance requirements are serious enough so that they might not want to sell in there if they're also paying, after they buy insurance, if they're also paying an additional fee. We're going to sort that out over time. And so I think this is a pretty good ordinance, and we should vote in favor of it.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? Yes, Alderman Burnham.
Maybe Public Works Director can answer this. Is this only applicable to Mohegan Park, or do we have anything similar to encompass our other public spaces like this?
Please approach the microphone.
I believe this specific resolution pertains just to Mohegan Park. We already have a system in place where vendors purchase a permit through the police department. They're vetted through the health department. We have a couple of vendors currently. They list which places that they want to vend from. So as someone mentioned before, there's already an ice cream truck up in the park. There's also one other food vendor that's currently registered. So while some of the language in this looks like it's specific to Mohegan Park, there is a system in place where vendors are currently permitted to do some selling.
So this is just filling a gap where there was
Yeah,
one
like
for this particular instance.
Alderman Browning said, really the impetus with this started because there's no more concession stand, and this specific language was in there, referring to the concession stand.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Nash.
Sir, if you could just wait 1 second real quick. So, one of our constituents brought up that they wanted to know about the fee. I don't know if you're prepared to talk about that, but if I'm sitting in front of the courthouse and all of a sudden I'm like, hey, it's a real busy, hot day today, I'm going to go to the park, do I have to buy a separate permit, or am I going to be allowed to use my vending permit that I purchased to sell hot dogs in front of the courthouse? Can I run that down now to the beach?
Yeah, when you, the permit lists specific places that you want to vend from, the current permit. We have, as Alderman Browning stated, we have not yet established separate fees for Mohegan Park. That would be more if there's an inconvenience, if the place gets trashed and we have extra work to do, because of the vendor. We're not looking, any fees would have to be approved by the council also.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Browning.
Yes, it's true that if you were selling hot dogs, you would need to go to the Director of Public Works to get permission to go to Mohegan Park, and you'd have to check the insurance. The insurance requirements in this resolution are the highest in the city. I agreed to them to get this ordinance passed.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? I would only make note that Section 3 of this ordinance does in fact require the council to vote on those fees at a later time, so everyone here or whoever's here will be getting another bite at this apple. It is not done after tonight. Is there further discussion? Seeing none? Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Burnham.
Yes.
Alderman Browning.
Yes.
Alderman DeLucia.
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould.
Yes.
Alderman Nash.
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom.
Yes. Motion carries 6-0. City Manager's report, please.
We have the sidewalk.
No, that's later.
It's not under the public hearing.
No, it's in the resolution.
We don't do anything with that.
It's listed twice here.
Okay.
City
That was
Manager's
just a
report.
public hearing. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. This is my city manager's report for August 19th, 2019. I attended the monthly public safety meeting. I also attended the 2 property revaluation information sessions that were held on Thursday, August 8th. More than 60 people attended the sessions that were presented by City Assessor Donna Ralston and William Lee, Assessment Analyst. I would like to thank them both for their detailed and informative presentation that gave residents and taxpayers a better understanding of the revaluation process. Their presentation has been posted on the city's website under the Assessor's Department. Negotiations are ongoing for the Public Works Supervisors, MEUI, and the Fire Department personnel. The Connecticut Interlocal Risk Management Agency, CIRMA, has presented the city with its annual members' equity distribution check for $49,930. The City of Norwich and Norwich Board of Education has received a total of $98,110 in the distributed members' equity since CIRMA began the program in 2011. I have been informed by the Norwich Public Works Program Coordinator, Jean Carrance, who is serving as the City of Norwich's Sustainable Connecticut contact for the Sustainable Connecticut Municipal Certification, that the city's application will be submitted this week. The deadline is August 30th, and the team has completed the task ahead of schedule. The city has accumulated 340 points, and only 200 are needed for certification. Thank you to the sustainability team and the NPU interns who worked to complete the application in a timely manner. This certification is designed to boost local economies, help municipal operations become more efficient, reducing operating costs, and providing grants and additional support to municipalities. An informational parking discussion will be held on Tuesday, August 20th in council chambers. Parking management trends around the country will be discussed from 10:30 to 12 p.m., and plans for growing downtown will be discussed from 1 to 2 p.m. The event is free and open to the public. The Ellis Ruley Committee will be hosting an official unveiling of the Brought to Light Walter Ruley in Norwich quilt on Friday, September 6th at 1 p.m. on the second floor of the City Hall, to acknowledge and thank the committee members, quilters, and those that contributed. City Hall will be open to 8 p.m. the same evening to view the quilt, and additional events will be held at City Hall, at the City Hall parking deck, and at the David Ruggles Courtyard in conjunction with First Friday events. Discover your heart list throughout the downtown. That completes my report for this evening.
Thank you. Questions of the city manager? Alderman Browning.
There's been some discussion over the situation with the contract. Has the contract been signed with the Tigers, or has it been executed, or is that something that has to come back to the council?
It was signed in August 1st.
Okay.
Thank you. Are there further questions of the city manager? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Old business resolution relative to the disposition of property at 18 Falls Ave.
Thank you. I entertain a motion for a proposed substitute for this resolution under old business. and then I will explain some additions to the language. Is there a motion? From Tim Nash, second Alderwoman Gould. If you would please turn to the second page on the third paragraph from the end of the resolution. Now therefore it be resolved by the Council of the City of Norwich that the sum of $5,000 be and hereby is appropriate from line item. That blank will now read line item 10410300-58815, and that is the mayor and city council line item in our budget. And I know. And further, in the final paragraph, if you see the date in October 2019 with responses to the same due no later than, please insert 60 days from issue of RFP. Again, 60 days from issue of RFP, and I would entertain a motion to amend to include those two items as outlined. The council line item and the statement on 60 days from issue of RFP. Is there such a motion to amend? Alderman DeLucia, second Alderwoman Gould. Is there discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that is unanimous. The resolution as amended. Is there discussion? Yes, Alderman Browning.
I would like to thank Tucker Braddock, who's not here this evening, for his work on this particular property.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Before the council votes, can I just say a couple of things?
Please.
This was changed to try to bring it in the context, but I think the most significant thing is you've changed from going for a high bidder to a request for proposals. This particular property is described in the city's assessment records as being 0.83 acres, which works out to about 43,560 feet, square feet rather, and for an acre, so that's about 36,150 square feet. In the Waterfront Development District, a lot is expected to have a dimension of 25,000 feet to be a lot. The survey is hoped to help to clarify that. One other thing that I think the council should know, and is one of the reasons probably to go out for an RFP, is that this isn't a floodway, am I correct? Deanna Rhodes can answer the questions of what that means in the context of this structure.
For the record, please state your name and your...
Deanna Rhodes, Director of Planning for the city. I don't believe it's in the floodway. I believe it's in the special flood hazard area, the 100-year flood, which is the 1% chance of flooding. I wanted to also add to something that Michael was just bringing up, Attorney Driscoll, is I noticed just right now, I was sitting here, I was looking at the assessor's card for this property. It has a value for the land. It does not have a value for the building. So I think we need to discuss that, whether there needs to be a value to the building, is because if it's going to be improved and it's in the special flood hazard area, it has to comply with the substantial improvement requirement, which is no more than 50% value of the building to be improved before we have to make the building 100% flood compliant. So without a value of the building, I wouldn't be able to determine our department if they can do it. Basically, we would say yes. Flood compliant, and it's very expensive and unlikely that that's going to happen because there would be flood vents and other things required to do that. Doesn't mean that somebody couldn't do that, but I think you need to be aware of that, that, you know, when you're going out for the RFP.
And whether this material, how far out does it reach in a system?
How that would go. But I just wanted you to be aware of that.
Wonder if that wouldn't be consideration for the RFP, the elements of the RFP, and not impact
in Massachusetts
on the resolution to
I
dispose
think
of the property.
I think the council can adopt the resolution tonight. It may delay a little bit, but I don't think for a long time putting a value on it. But then the question becomes, you still have to have somebody interested in the project recognizing that they may have to either spend a lot of money, can only spend very little money, depending on what the value is.
I mean, I agree with that. I think that it could move forward, but a value needs to be assigned to the building. And again, someone might be interested in making 100% flood compliant. I don't know that at this time, but with, we don't have a value for it. One of the other things, again, we have to have the survey to determine the acreage of the property, to make sure that it complies with zoning. And if it doesn't, when we split that off, there may be a variance required in that. We need to look a little bit into that. So we'll see if it's going to end up, when we cut that off, depending on the acreage, what that will be. A few little things hanging out there that need to be addressed, but I think moving forward is still important.
So the question would be, all the things that you just said, though, are all downstream of this council saying, yes, let's sell this property.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that they could be taken care of afterwards. But again, I think that was clarifying how much acreage this involves, what the value of the building is. I think we need to, before you go out to RFP, you have to have that information for someone so they can know if they're interested in it or not. But yes, I think it won't delay your action on this. Any other questions for me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there further discussion on the resolution as amended? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's unanimous. The vote is 6-0. It passes.
Citizen comment on resolution?
I hereby move,
Oh, sorry.
After the... Huh? Before the citizen comment? Okay, go ahead.
thank you. I hereby move pursuant to Connecticut General Statute, Section 1-200, subsection 6, that the members of the Norwich City Council go into an executive session for the purpose of discussing the acquisition or disposition of real estate or interest in real estate when publicly regarding this site, purchase or construction would adversely impact the price of the same, to review engineering or feasibility estimates and evaluations, including prospective public supply made for the city, and to review commercial or financial information given in confidence not required by statute. City Manager John Salamone. General Manager of the Norwich Public Utilities Christopher LaRose. Chairman of the Board of Commissioners of Norwich Public Utilities Robert Staley. President of the Norwich Community Development Corp. Robert Mills. Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Norwich Community Development Corp. Robert Buckley. And Mark Block. Its counsel shall be asked to participate during all or portions of this executive session at the request of the council.
Mr. Mayor,
Motion for us.
I'd like to amend that to add Deanna Rhodes, who's Director of Planning, and our city planner to participate as well.
Can I first get a second to the motion offered by Alderwoman Gould, seconded by Pro Tem Nash? Is there discussion? Sam, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that you would be a valuable participant in this discussion.
Is there a second? Motion has been made to amend to include our planning director. All those in favor? All those in favor of the motion? 319, please.
Might not be a bad idea if all the laboratories and the state laboratory maybe talk to each other.
Council, come back to order. The record stand that no votes were taken for the council to return. Gould, second by Nash. All those in favor? It's unanimous. The public remain. Yes, sir. Yes.
opinion. And I use the comptroller's explanation as the basis. Resolution. He included that the revenues were not what they estimated they were going to be. So things have a tendency to change over what estimates are. In my opinion, is the roller coaster fallout after President Trump's tariffs on Chinese products were not in step with President Obama's announcement about Obamacare consumer costs. And you can keep your doctor. Both of them were total, complete lies. So I'm not calling this a lie, but the economy is on shaky grounds. So borrow money, like the previous speaker was talking, is rather foolhardy in this era of what do they call it down in Washington? Roadblocker or whatever it is. So there's tough times on the horizon. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now speak on the citizen comment. Yes, please.
Sheila Hayes, 382 Laurel Hill Avenue. Good evening. I'd like to talk on resolution number 3. One, my concern with the resolution as well as the budget process is that we're going to move money around to cover some of the school budget in this particular, and then you're going to come back with another resolution or ordinance to cover the gap, and that's for last year's deficit. There's also a for that not to happen again. Sit down starting probably this month, if not next month, to really talk about what is what are the school budget needs, and then what are the city needs, and be a compromise workload. Because I don't think we can continue to wait till let's let revenues come in and then you're going to go into the unrestricted funds. At some point in time, the deficit in the school budget is going to be larger than what you can take out deficit unspent funds, and then where do you go? So I'm asking that you start, if not this month, next month, to start addressing the gap between the school board that was passed last year between the city and the school board, and then address what the new budget is going to be for next year, so we can start getting some of the expenditures as well as the revenue that offset those expenditures under control. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd like to speak under citizen comment. Please.
Good evening, Rodney Boyle, 62 Roosevelt Avenue. You folks have all heard my speech on a credit card. And if you run your credit card just like this, then you vote yes. Vote yes on this ordinance, please. If that's the way you run your credit card at home. I stand corrected on the $50 million. And talking with George, it seems like 38 million. That means every man in this town right here owes $1,000. I know how this whole thing, I'm not stupid. I know what it's about, I know what it's for, and I know that you don't want to do line items for every road that needs repaired. I do know that. But please, take a really, really hard look at the way you're doing things. It's you that started this. Like I say, I've been up now for 50 years, and I remember when this all started in this particular manner. I like it, and it's not the way I run my own household. And I didn't appreciate us this evening, having non-citizens speaking for the council of citizen comment. We don't need to bring political agendas into this council. We got enough to do without bringing politics and other people's
Anyone else on the resolution speak for the council? Third time, anyone else?
Election on November 5th, 2019, regarding entitled "An Ordinance Appropriating $5 Million for the City of Norwich Infrastructure Improvement Program 2019, and authorizing the issue of $5 million bonds of the city to meet said appropriation, and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings
Motion, please bring this forward. Alderman Gould, second by Pro Tem Nash. Is there discussion? Alderman DeLucia.
Just quickly, in response to public comment at the podium tonight, you know, before $1 million bond, we are really voting to do referendum. It will be each and every taxpayer in the city of Norwich.
Being none, all those in favor? Unanimous vote, 6-0. Passes.
relative participation in a cost-sharing program with the city of Norwich to construct concrete sidewalks.
Motion, please, bring it forward. Pro Tem Nash, second by Alderman Gould. Is there discussion? Yes, Alderman Burnham.
Some people might not care, but I just want to put it out there. There's Burnham Square Development on here. Get this benefit. I'm at Burnham. Burnham is my married name. And he's in Colorado. So I just wanted to make clear that I'm not from the administration anymore.
Thank you very much. Is there further discussion on the resolution? Saying none, all those in favor?
Relative to transfer funds among various departments to close out fiscal year 2018-19.
Motion, please. Pro Tem Nash, is there a second? Alderman Booth. Is
Calculations together for the police, fire, and board of veterans. The difference between the required, what the department requested, and what was actually adopted for the police department was around $823,000, and the need to transfer here is $560,000. So pretty close. For fire, the difference between what requested and what was actually adopted in the budget was $540,000, and we're new to transfer $400,000. From the Board of Ed, the difference between requested and adopted was $4.5 million, and the needed transfer is $1.4 million. Those, they actually came in under what they requested, so they should come in for timing the else as best they can. But I just think for the public to know that each of these departments were short when they asked for appropriate funding. Pretty good. this reason. It's very easy to see the writing on the wall, what's coming. There's this, the shell game, like, citizenship, where we just transfer things. Loaded apartments. And I really think that this was done to give the illusion of tax code. Here we are, we talked about this year, we're going to be paying this anyway. Potentially even issuing a levy on the CCD because that's going to go into deficit based on the I just think we should just be more honest about these things.
Thank you. Is there further discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, again, when I spoke about this data-driven decision-making, this is exactly what I was talking about. But you see that police department, the fire department was look at this, you see that it's not all that is going to be needed. As Alderman Burnham has just pointed out, we will end up having to carry some over, carry some other expenditures over, where we take money out of undesignated fund balance, or carry some, or carry some sort of new debt. Okay, and that's a job question. But again, all right, we weren't honest with how we structured the budget, how we adopted a budget, and what that looked like, and here we are later in the paper. Secondly, to again public comment from the podium, I heard the request, and I've stated over and over again, and I say just because I only want to speak for myself, I don't speak for anybody else sitting up here. But there is absolutely no reason why our Budget and Finance Subcommittee and the Budget Expenditures Subcommittee should not be meeting an ad hoc committee year-round to develop a budget that the superintendent can implement, that the board of ed can or and that the council can adopt without the adversarial push and shove that goes on every single year because of the way we currently do the budget. And I call on the members of this council to join me in that thought and make that committee happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion?
I'll throw my 2 cents. First of all, I sat here. Both departments would have been able to be curtailed as best as possible, but we also knew that there could have been an incident where that wouldn't happen. As far as the school budget, I don't know if anybody's sitting up here and we could sit there and say we lied or misled or played shell games or wasn't truthful or honest or anything like that, but they were saying they were going to be $5 million short. $5 million short. Through their amazing work and talent and sacrifice, they were able to come and be short $1.4 million. Now let me explain how that works. We give them $5 million in the budget. We have to give it in. We can't go back. So let's say we give them the $5 million and they were $1 million short. We're not getting any money back. We give them less next year. I don't know what the budget will be this year. We're sitting historically it's going to be over. Well, we have a new person in charge. Give them a little extra. I also want to say that since I sat here, that's the only city department that's an increase. Others were asked to do 5% cut over the last year's cut, which was, I believe that as a councilman sitting up here, and we can throw party lines all we want, I do believe there's a place where we can't cross, and we're almost there. I think we're at that line where we can't do with less than we've already doing with, and I don't know how much more we can departments. And we gave them 82 or 92 or 85, we have to give that, we can't give less. So I'm hoping that the new person on in can follow. Really, really high for them, both the police, the fire, and every other department in our city who were doing that, people, money, supplies, whatever. Okay, so I mean, to say that we're not doing the right thing here is I don't know if disingenuous, but there's not a person that sits on either side of this aisle that wants to hurt anybody in Norwich, including children, including the elderly, including public works, including, I believe, the police department. I mean, I would probably sign off on everything if I wasn't held in check up here, because I was there, and Joe knows. Joe was there too. So that's all.
Okay, is there further discussion? $2 million certificate to the reserve balance. So kudos to all of those. Comment made earlier that we should be talking. Well, we are talking. I and the city manager have met with the new superintendent. We met also the head. Discussions, so the discussions that were asked for, we're going to follow through with them on a regular monthly basis to hopefully build that consensus. I can tell you, the person in charge of NFA extended offers to assist and help the elementary hopefully lead to better results as the children get older, high school, and so forth. So the dialogue has begun. It will continue forward. And again, I want to thank the departments who say and were under. It's also thank the weather. We had a very mild winter, and that's one reason there's a large transfer as well, because we didn't have to spend that money clearing our roads. That's it. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the resolution then? Unanimous. Please to schedule this for public hearing with full text and reading of the ordinance, and I believe that's it. And second reading. Thank you. The date I believe is September 3rd, which is a Tuesday, because of Labor Day being on Monday. Just for every year, it will be an evening on a Tuesday, September 3rd. That hearing will be held. Is there such motion? Nash, second by Gould. Their discussion. Now, all those in favor? That's unanimous, 6-0.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Motion to adjourn by Gould, second by Nash. All those